All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Talking with Tony. As you can see, again, I am Danny Arp, and I will be filling in for Tony today. He's traveling around and needed to fill in, and I said I would certainly enjoy doing it, and but I really wanted to have Kevin back with me to do it again. We had a pretty good time the last time, so I welcome Kevin White coming from South to us from South Georgia. And of course, as always, we got our producer Jake Barton watching over us here. So, how you doing, Kevin?
We're doing good, Danny. How about you?
I'm doing great, man. I like that background you got there.
Oh yeah, that's Sea Island Golf Course, Seaside. That's we got the RSM Classic starting this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
You go out there and watch it much, or you just?
I've been out there a couple of times over the years. It started out as the McGladrey when Davis Love first bumped this thing up and got it going, and now they've got the bigger sponsor for the RSM. And I was fortunate enough, a couple of guys that work for Coca-Cola, I've been able to go out there with them and the hospitality tents and stuff like that, and then walk around the course and follow some of the guys. It's a good little tournament. You don't get a ton of the big names in it, but you get a few. Like
Yeah,
we got several local guys on St. Simons, and they most of them always play in it.
yeah, that's awesome. Man. That's a beautiful course. I never got to play it. I've seen it.
Yeah, that's we don't get to play that course. I played it once um, with some other fellows that I know. You can't afford to play there. It's one of them courses that it'll break the bank to go over there for a round of golf. You know,
Yeah, you better know somebody, or you better have a big wallet, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. One of these days we might get so lucky as to play some of those. I'll just stick with the municipal course, I guess, for now. So, got a big weekend coming up, everybody. Last week before we go into Thanksgiving week, have schools letting out. You got certain people working all the time, and some get off for the whole week. I am one of the unfortunate few who don't get the whole week off. What about you, Kevin? You get off the whole week of Thanksgiving, or what do you do?
Well, I don't get off the whole week of Thanksgiving, but I took off the whole week of Thanksgiving. So, with my company, none of your vacation time rolls over year to year. So I found myself in a tight here, a couple of weeks ago, and was like, man, I got a lot of time I got to use before the end of the year to lose it. So, me and another guy that works with me, we sat down with a calendar and figured it out. So he's off this week. I'm off next week. You know.
Oh man, that's awesome, dude. You got any big? I mean, what do you got big Thanksgiving plans? Bunch of any traditions y'all do, or what do you do?
Yeah, well, traditionally we used to with my wife and I, we would alternate years with her family and then with mine, with mom and the aunts and uncles and stuff over in Thomasville, Valdosta area. But one of my cousins, his kids, he has twins as well. They just started freshman year of college. One's at up in New York, and the other one's at North Carolina. And so them flying home back to Florida and then traveling over to there, and they were like, "This is too much. We're not going to do it there this year." So we're going to start a new tradition this year. We're going to do it at home. You
All
know.
right. Look, that's always the final straw, though. I'm just going ahead and warning you, which is not bad. Once you break that traveling tradition a little bit and stay home one time, at least that's
Mhm.
the way it was with me. That was it. And I was sort of forced with my job. We used to travel around like you're talking about, see, Janice's parents, my parents, or my fast side of the family. And man, what's this job I got started working all the time, after Thanksgiving and Saturday. I get one day off and that's it. So I'm left out now. It's be my fourth year. Well, no, COVID, I was with everybody. But then after that, I haven't been by myself at Thanksgiving now. This will be my fourth year.
Wow.
Yeah. It
Wow.
reminds me of Athens, though. One time I got stuck up in Athens somehow by myself.
Did you?
Yeah, and I wound up eating with Eric, man. He cooked he cooked the craziest meal, dude. It's some kind of New York deal, you know what I'm saying? Stuffed turkey, and of course he had all that, the others. Molson and all that. So I was like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's right. It was
So that
Labatt's
was that was
Blue.
probably my craziest Thanksgiving ever right there.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. I lived with him for a year, so
I
I
know,
know.
man. I couldn't believe it. I was like, he's like, I'm still in town. Come over here. I was like, oh my God. He had, shorts and t-shirt just cooking away over there. But yeah, I guess I may go over to this. They got a place called Lizard Thicket up here, and you've probably seen those when you were up here in Columbia. So I want to go.
Right.
They'll be open Thanksgiving Day, so I'll go eat with some strangers and
There you
my
go.
family.
I'm
My
sure there's
family
a
all.
crack. I'm sure there's a Cracker Barrel out there by the
Yeah,
interstate
yeah,
somewhere. Right.
yeah. I'm sure you can get something anyway. I'll figure it out while the family's down there and living the dream in Hawaii. So
Well, you're only 3 hours away. You're more than welcome to ride down to my house.
yeah, I think to your house that'd be a 1 hour flight. I'd have to drive about 6 hours to get to you probably.
No, no, it's only three
No, I
hours.
guess so. Yeah, you're right. It is three cutting that way. I get all mixed up. Well, there's some more big news for the panelists that we have here. John, who's one of our leaders in the picks, and he's always been a great panelist, does a lot of shows with Tony, and he's the movie expert of the bunch. He is getting married this Saturday. So I
Wow.
wanted to congratulate him and wish him the best of luck. Me and also Tony wanted me to tell him the same thing. But you got two Bulldogs getting married on game day, Kevin. Hey,
Wow. That's what I was about to say. He's a football coach too, right?
I'm telling you, man, it makes
Like
no
what in
sense.
the world? You don't plan weddings in the fall in football season. Like, I mean, I'm happy for him, but what were you thinking, brother?
Yeah, well, I think they looked at the calendar and saw it was us against Charlotte, and decided it'd be the best time to squeeze it in before the big games really got finished
Well,
off.
well, hopefully he doesn't have any of them mayhem like me buddies hanging out at the wedding, you know?
The only problem with getting married, you can plan your schedule, right, to play Charlotte and get married. But now you got to go do something every anniversary weekend. You never know, man. You get in a big
Well,
game. You go,
and maybe that's Georgia tickets every anniversary weekend. That'd be a good plan.
that's exactly the best bet right there to go to a game. All right, man. Well, we got a good slate of football here. Um, Before we get into it, though, because we'll probably get into some of it, I did want to do one quick thing, talk a little playoff. I know the rankings will come out again tonight. Talk a
Yep.
little playoff talk. So, what do you think as far as how it's going to shake up after this past weekend with some of the games we saw?
Yeah, I mean, we saw a couple of them lose, right? So, I mean, I feel like that 12th spot's still up in the air, with South Florida losing,
Yeah,
so it's yet to be determined who's going to fall in there. We'll see who the gurus think that's going to be tonight.
yeah,
Um, as far as that top four goes, I don't think much changes there. I think Georgia will jump into that four spot, but
yeah.
it really, if we don't play in the SEC championship, then that doesn't really mean anything, you know, because the conference winners are going to get those top four spots.
Right.
Um, which, you know, I mean, the goal is always to win the SEC first, but it really wouldn't hurt my feelings if we don't have to go play that extra game, you know, and we're
Yeah.
sitting there in the 5 spot, home field advantage, hosting whoever that 12 seed is, in
Yeah.
Sanford Stadium. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think you got it right on the top four, Georgia will jump up with Alabama losing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm eager to see how far they drop Alabama down.
Yeah, I'm curious of that too. Texas Tech, they might leapfrog them for sure. Texas
Yeah.
Tech is looking pretty good coming out of the Big 12 there. They've been looking dominant. Um, so we'll see. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, will they drop them down there? And how far will Texas fall? They
Yeah.
fall completely like down in the 20s, or they just drop them 3 or 4 spots. I mean,
I think they'll be 20, man. I think they're going down big time. That
yeah,
was that was brutal.
it was. I mean, that 35-10 loss there is that makes a statement, that maybe you didn't deserve to be where you're at,
Yeah.
and nothing makes me happier, you know.
Man, I would have loved to have seen your face on that onside kick, man. You know?
Man, I was so surprised. I was, but to tell you the truth, I was screaming. I was like, "What are we doing? Oh, he's got it!"
Absolutely.
It's like he was a genius when he actually caught the ball.
That's
And
crazy.
I think Cass Jones was freaked out as much as I was that it landed right in his arms and he just fell to the ground where he had nobody in front of him for 20 yards. He could have kept running,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I think, well, one, you can't advance an onside kick. So that's why he fell down. I think he wanted to run it and he fell down. But
Uh,
I just think that I hate to see all of the, and I hope they just keep it up. That 2022 year, we just kept thinking they can't keep this going. And, maybe they can keep it going. But that was a complete game. That was awesome. But, they got them from offense, defense, special teams. It was just brutal. But to follow up, I do think that, I think with the playoff, before we move into picks, that this thing is setting up for 5 SEC teams to make the playoff almost, man, which is just crazy. I think the Big Ten will get 3 in for sure. And I know, I guess what you were right when you said the Big wasn't looking as good, because if they're only getting 3, if SEC gets 5, you'd be accurate in your statement a few shows ago.
well, that's like I told you afterwards when your buddy was like, "What in the world? Why is he dogging the Big Ten?" I was like, I meant no disrespect. I was just, it's just pure observation.
Yeah.
Where yes, you got a couple of dominant teams there in the Big Ten, and you got some really good football teams in the Big Ten, but their records and the outcomes of their games has just kind of been. That's why I felt like it was somewhat middle of the road for the conference,
Yeah.
and some of that could be said for the SEC as well,
Yeah.
um, but I mean, you look at Ole Miss sitting there strong; they could still sneak in there somewhere. I think they'll be
Mhm.
in the playoffs. You got, and I mean, there's a lot of. We say there's a lot of football. It's 2 weeks left. Charlotte, cupcake, right? Most of the big dogs have a cupcake weekend. Um, but then we go into that Thanksgiving weekend with traditionally rivalry weekend, and anything can happen there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things like I want. I despise Alabama, but I want them to win out from here on out. But they could go into Jordan-Hare and lose, and then there we are. Now Georgia's back in Atlanta, you know.
Look, man, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. I sort of changed my mind the other day when they lost. I was like, you know what? I'm good with it, man. One, I wouldn't mind seeing Auburn get beaten. And two, let's try. I feel like we're making it in anyway. We're going to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go in there and try to beat Texas A&M. You know what I mean? That's the way I see it.
Well, and that's what's crazy. Like, I mean, I think even if Alabama wins out, Texas A&M, that rivalry game with Texas, Texas
Yeah.
isn't a terrible team.
No.
I mean, they can beat them.
Yeah.
They've
Anything can
done it
happen.
before in that rivalry, and so I mean, if Texas A&M loses, we have the head-to-head tiebreaker with common opponent, right? We go in
Yeah.
and play Alabama in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
that'd be crazy. Yeah. I don't want any part of that junk. I hate that. Not that I'm scared. I just hate them.
I
All right,
think the big
let's pick some football, man. Let's get in here. We can talk about SEC all day. We got that's what happens when half the team, when half the teams fill up the playoffs. You get to talking a lot. But
we have to do this just to put Stormy on edge Saturday morning.
yeah, well, speaking of Stormy, man, let's just recap. Stormy is on a roll here. He's had a couple of real good weeks. He's doing great with his 5 stars. So I look forward to seeing who he's got this week on his 5 star. But Stormer's pulled himself almost back up to 500 on these picks, so he's having a nice run here. We'll see. All right, so first game we got is the Missouri at Oklahoma. Oklahoma is -9.5. It's a good old time rivalry. People don't know as much that it is such a big rivalry because when they came to SEC, we didn't know much about them. But they go all the way back to 1902 and played
Mhm.
85 years in a row, starting in 1910. They had 1 year off for the war. But how do you see it? Last year was pretty, Mizzou pulled it off, but how do you see it?
Yeah, I was reading a little bit about the history of this game too. I knew the close proximity, they had to be old school rivals, and um, a little thing that I didn't know, they do the Tiger Sooner peace pipe there in the end
Yeah.
zone to the winner at the end of the game, from I forget what Indian tribe brought that into the mix years
Yeah.
and years ago. Um, and traditionally, Oklahoma has been kind of the powerhouse of this matchup, you know, and, my thoughts on it, it's questionable whether Mizzou's quarterback's going to be back or not. They're saying there's a possibility. Even if he is first game back after he's been out for 4 weeks now,
Hmm.
is he 100%? And so I'm leaning towards the home team, especially as well as they played against Alabama this past weekend. I mean, 9.5 is kind of one of those trap numbers to me, but I'm still going with the home team minus 9.5.
That's a good pick. I mean, I see your point, and I think it's pretty good. Tony doesn't have a pick in this one. Got two members of the panel against you. One of them Stormy, and then one's me, man. I got this as my 5-star pick, Mizzou plus 9.5, man.
No, that's
I
not
feel
a
like
bad pick.
I feel
I
like
mean,
the
I was on the
Oklahoma
fence.
letdown, it may be coming here. We'll see. I may not saying they won't win, but it's a lot of points coming off such a big win. So we'll see how it turns out.
Well, you talk about that being your 5-star. That's that. I think I've developed this superpower. If I can write them down as my 5-star, you can guarantee they're not going to cover and probably lose.
Well, speaking of, yeah, I'm 3-9 in my 5 stars, so I wouldn't put much faith in that. And you're 4-8, so pretty good picks otherwise. But that is my 5 star, and maybe that explains it. All right, no, 3:30 game. Got some West Coast teams. Southern Cal at Oregon. Another 9.5 spread. Oregon minus 9.5. Big
Yeah,
game there.
yeah,
What do you
yeah.
think?
Well, I mean, I think USC's been playing good football better than their record shows, and it's not that far of a travel from to Oregon. It's a 3:30 game, so it's not like they're going to be at night in the cold, So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping I'm on the right side of these things. I took the plus points with USC on this one, um, just because I think that they can keep it a close ball game.
I like it.
Oregon may pull it out at home late and win it. 3 to 5 points or something like that. But I think USC can keep it close.
Look, I agree with you on that. Tony's got a pick in this game as well. He loves the Southern Cal. He's going to always call them Southern Cal, not University of Southern California. So he's with you. 9.5 points. I'm with you. I'm taking Southern Cal in the points. Everybody else is on Oregon, so we shall see. All right, up next, the disrespect game, Kentucky at Vanderbilt. I have never seen this line in my life. Vanderbilt minus 10. So the
All right.
question I got for you is Kentucky getting no respect after reeling off 3 wins in a row? Or are they going to earn that disrespect and put a big flop up in Nashville? What do you think?
Well, I mean, there again, that's one of these numbers, 10 points being a big number. Vandy's at home in Nashville. Diego Pavia plays great. He's a dog. I mean, he just finds ways to make stuff happen, but Kentucky and they are not a bad football team. That's another one there that their record doesn't show as good as they play. They've just come out on the wrong end of several games. And so there again, I'm going with Kentucky in the points, just because I think that they can keep that closer than 10, with Vandy.
Yeah.
Vandy's good. Don't get me wrong, Vandy's good, and they've shown some strength. But I think Kentucky's defense flying around the ball, I think they'll stick with them. Yeah.
I like that pick too. I mean, I think the defense will be the difference. Kentucky, I mean, Vanderbilt can score big points and they can score fast, but Kentucky just if they can just get a little bit of running game, they'll slow this game down enough. I think they keep it. I'm taking Kentucky plus 10 as well. All right, Kansas State at Utah. Utah minus 17. We got some big spreads this week on our picks, and From what I read, Utah, they're another weird conference trying to decide who's going to win it, but Utah's looking to clinch to get a spot in that Big 12 title game. I don't know what all the math says they do it, but got two losses. But if they can win this one, they should clinch. What do you think?
Uh, yeah, I haven't looked at their standings 100%, but just looking at the top 25 right there, I don't see another one in front of them.
Yeah.
So it'd be them and Texas Tech, right? If it all shakes out that way. Um,
Yep.
yeah, I was looking at this one a little bit. They haven't played each other. I think they played each other maybe 5 times total. Kansas State and Utah. Um, and Kansas State hadn't beat Utah since 1951. You know,
Man.
um, whereas Utah's win against Kansas State latest was 1996. Back in our glory days. So they haven't played very often at all. But just looking at overall body of work, I think Utah is the better team. I think they played better opponents thus far and even the ones they may have lost, they've given them fits. And so it is a big number, but I'm going Utah -17 at home.
Well, it's the biggest spread we got on our board this week, and every member of the panel agrees with you. -17 at Utah. So everybody get behind that one. All right, here we go. Let's go with some night games. Number the 7 o'clock game, Pittsburgh at Georgia Tech, -2.5. We got a night game at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Coca-Cola should be flowing all day. That crowd will be worked up off of caffeine. So what do you think? Can the 9-1 Yellow Jackets do it, or is Pitt going to be the spoiler again?
Well, this is my 5-star. Okay. And this was just strictly out of looking at the rest of the options we had to choose from, right? I think Pittsburgh's a heck of a football team, and they lead the overall head-to-head matchup with Tech. I forget the exact number. I looked at it earlier. I forgot it, but they win more in Atlanta versus Tech than they do at home versus Tech. And so 2.5-point spread, not much. It's almost a pick 'em,
Yeah.
So I went with Pitt and the 2.5 points. My hopes. I hope Tech wins because I want them ranked as high as possible when we play them. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
but for the purpose of these pick sheets and as well as I've done on 5-stars, that's what I went with.
Well, look, 5 stars again. Remind you, Kevin 4-8 and 5 stars. Stormy 8-4 and 5 stars. Also is taking Pitt as his 5-star pick this time against his own team. Man, he's doing a double jinx or something.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go ahead and go with Georgia Tech -2.5 on this. I think the home team does get a little worked up, and I think they're going to push them around a little. All right, we're going to move on to the 7:30 game. Tennessee -3 at Florida. We know the Swamp's no easy place to play.
It is not. I think they're coming apart. Florida's coming apart at the seams right now, though. It's a tough environment to play. Interim head coach DJ Lagway is throwing the ball to the other team as much as he does his own receivers. I think all these North Florida rednecks over there are calling for his head now. They already got rid of the coach. Now they want Lagway to go with him. This is a battle of two ugly oranges to me, and I'm taking the favorite team, Tennessee, on the road just because I think they have a better defense.
Yeah. I think this one you just flip a coin, man. I mean, Tennessee's they're just, I don't know, they're limping along if you ask me. They got the offense. When his scheme's working, it works great. But I do think that defense in Florida they got one last chance to make a statement. So I'm going to take Florida in the points. And Tony does have a pick in this one as well, and he's taking Florida in the points. So that's what we got. Every other member, let me see, of the panel is no, Fred's with us with the points. So it's 3-3 on that. All right. Last college game we got BYU. That was my Big 12 pick to start off with. I guess they still got an outside chance, but they're -2 at Cincinnati. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think BYU still got a shot in there. Cincinnati, I haven't watched a whole lot of them, so this one was total, just kind of throwing a dart for me, and I went with BYU at -2. It's hard to pick the road team sometimes, but I think BYU, what I have seen of them, they played some pretty good football. Um, I haven't seen a whole lot of Cincinnati, a couple of highlights here and there, so that's why I went with BYU.
Yep. Well, both teams are turnover prone. Cincinnati's more of the fumble. BYU's throwing picks, but when they don't throw, and I guess it could be say that for a lot of teams, but when they haven't thrown more than one interception in a game, they win in the game. So I'm gonna take BYU -2. Hope they don't do get the turnovers going, and I think they're gonna have a big time offensive showing on this game. So I feel like a lot of points gonna be scored there by BYU. All right. So that's it for the college slates. Again, for the 5 stars, we got John with Utah -17 for his 5 star. I've got Missouri +9.5. Stormy, 5 stars, Pitt +2.5, and your 5 stars, Pitt +2.5. So a couple of panel members got them in the pros. So we'll move to our first pro game. That's Steelers at the Bears -3. Couple of great teams right here. Steelers leading AFC North at 6-4. You got the Bears leading NFC North at 7-3. So Bears also, they're looking to win 4 in a row here. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean they're at home. They got some players. I know Tony knows this. I've been in a fantasy football league for ages with old Steve Card and a bunch of other boys.
Yeah.
Um, and I've got a couple of the Bears players on my team, and they keep, my luck ain't just with these picks. It's happening to me in the fantasy game too. So I feel like if I pick the Steelers here because that's who I'll be going against, some of their players, that maybe it'll help me. So I went with the Steelers +3 on the road, and it's hard to, you know, it's hard to go against them. They got some good players, and they're showing out, coming alive here. They didn't start out strong, but they're looking that way now. You know.
Yeah. I think the Steelers is a good pick. I've been on them the last few weeks. Uh, they did let me down once, but they're coming off. I think they're starting to get it together as well. I know the Bears got a great team, and then going there to play is going to be tough. But it just seems like that line's just screaming to me. Vegas is wanting you to take the bait. I'm going with you, Steelers +3 as well, and John is with us +3 with the Steelers. So I think it's good. Split the panel, so we'll see how it turns out. All right, here we go. Falcons at the Saints. Falcons -2.5. We got the team of who could lose the most, or the game of who can lose the most. What do you got?
I'm with you on that. I mean, I don't know which one's worse. I mean, I think the Saints probably struggling with personnel and stuff like that of actually producing more so than the Falcons. But the Falcons have shown us they can find a way. They can find a way to give it back. And so, you know, I was with you after a few weeks ago. They burned me. I picked them as a 5 star, and they burned me. I was like, I'm with Danny. I'm just gonna fade them from here on out.
Yeah.
Until I see this pick come up, and then I was like, wow, Tony's making me pick them again because the Saints are terrible.
Yes, man, they are bad.
And so I went the Falcons at
All
minus
right.
2.5.
Well, you, Fred, Stormy all got the Falcons. John has got the Saints +2.5, and you know who I got. I got the Saints +2.5. So. All right, let's go. This is a great game. I'm looking forward to this game right here. We got 425 game. Eagles -6 at the Cowboys. The Eagles are just starting to run away with NFC East. great win against the Lions. I felt I had a sort of crazy. I didn't think it was a bad pick. I thought it was a great pick last week. I was texting with another buddy of mine, and he was like, "Oh, I like your picks, but I don't know about that. The Eagles." And I'm like, "Okay." And then they beat the Lions too. So, can the Cowboys be the spoiler here, or do you think the Eagles keep their roll going?
Well, I think the Eagles are going to keep their roll going. The Cowboys, they played a lot better football this year than they have in years past, but they're another one of those teams that, as I'm not a Cowboys fan, but those that I know, there are a ton of people that are. They kind of feel about them the way I do the Falcons, but
Yeah.
they get there, they're looking good, they got a chance, and then all of a sudden they just fall apart. They
Mm.
find a way to lose, and I think you're right. This is gonna be a heck of a matchup Sunday. It'll be a fun one to watch,
I'm
but
telling you, man, that Eagles roster is just crazy if you ask me, man. If you just think back, 4 or 5 years, 3, 4 years ago when college is coming, this is like every big name you could think of, and they got
mhm.
them together up there in my mind.
Well, that's it. It's the Alabama offense with a Georgia defense, right? It's
It's crazy,
incredible.
man. And we'll see. I mean, that's a big number, but I feel like those poor old Cowboys fans are about to be in for it. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. I mean, they may keep it close, but I think the Eagles can cover this. So I got the Eagles -6 as well, and every member of the panel does, except for our illustrious host, Tony Jones, takes the Cowboys +6 as his 5-star pick of the week, man.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. It's that insider he's got out there in Atlantic City or Vegas one something. He's
Look,
always got the inside track
he
somehow.
knows, man. We're all on the wrong side of this one, probably. We all know that. Tony is 8-4 in his 5 stars for the season. So pretty good pick by him there. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, our last game on the slate. Another great game. Buccaneers at the Rams. You got a battle here of the NFC divisional leaders as well. The Rams 5-game winning streak. Kevin.
Hmm.
Bucks with a 2-game winning streak. Someone's got to give here. What do you think? Rams -6.5. Another big line.
It is. I mean, it's one touchdown, right? That's a one touchdown is the way I
Yeah.
look at it. And I mean, the Bucks going from Tampa to SoFi, weather conditions probably not a whole lot different. It's just the fact they're going all the way across the country, and the Rams are on fire. I love Stafford and his receiving core. I can't wait. Well, I can wait. I don't wish him any ill will, but I can't wait for Stetson to take over that team. You know, and so I'm on the Rams with the -6.5. The Bucks are a dang good football team. They've been finding a way to keep games tight and keep them close, but I think the Rams can pull this one out.
Yeah, I like it too, man. You get a little, you get out there. You got the game at 8:20. For the Rams, you're talking about Sunday night for them to be 5:20. So I think so, man. They're gonna come out hot. You got the Rams. I got the Rams. Everybody's got the Rams except for Stormy. So we will see.
All
All right,
right.
Kevin. I appreciate it, man. Another great weekend coming up. I hope it's as exciting as this past weekend was. That was a fantastic football game, or just the whole weekend really was great. But anytime Bama loses and Georgia dominates, I'm always excited. So,
All right.
I hope you have I hope you have a great Thanksgiving week. Same to everybody, all our panelists at Pick, and everybody out there. Everybody travel safe. Big week coming up, and let's have some fun watching these games. So from here in Columbia, Kevin in South Georgia, and Jake coming to us from Noonan. Thanks for watching Talking with Tony. Have a great one.